Before you start building your website, stop. A bad website layout can confuse visitors and cost you potential customers. But with the right structure, your website will guide people exactly where you want them to go. Whether that's booking a call, making a purchase, or signing up for your emails. And in this video, I'll walk you through a simple step-by-step process to plan your website like a pro, so it works for you, not against you. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Charlie Bailey and I'm the founder of Raw UK, an online course business. Here on YouTube, we help small business owners, founders, solopreneurs and multi-passionate professionals level up their skills so that they can thrive doing what they love. So let's get started. Now, I've built a number of my own websites over the years for various side hustles, projects, and in more recent times for my own businesses. Usually, I'd wake up one morning and decide I needed a website. I would then search a domain, purchase it, Google the best website builders, spend 5 minutes researching, choose the easiest, cheapest option, and then just start building with some random free template. I gave zero thought to what I was building before I started, and unfortunately, the results spoke for themselves. Yes, at first glance, I would end up with some semi-professional looking website, mainly thanks to the quality of the website builder. But there were some huge errors which were probably costing me quite a lot of business. These sites were clunky, the branding and the copy were clearly created on the fly. They were difficult to navigate and critically, they lacked flow. And it's this that I really want to talk to you about today: website flow. So what do I mean by website flow? It's essentially the journey that your website visitor takes as they navigate through your site. It's the way you structure the website, the pages you choose, the number of clicks, where those clicks take you, and the flow of information. It should align to a natural, logical path that you expect your website visitor to take, following their thought process as they access each piece of information. Our main goal needs to be to make it as easy as possible for our visitors to find what they need and to take action. But all of this needs careful planning before you start creating your site. Otherwise, you could end up like I did, with a clunky website with unclear navigation, too many clicks, missing pages, and an all-round inferior visitor experience. Thankfully, I have found a solid step-by-step process to plan out your killer website flow, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. So grab something to write with and let's get going. Step 1. Identify your website users and their wants and needs. Now, if you're in any way involved in running a business or a side hustle offering products or services, then it's likely that you've been through a process of identifying and ideally describing in detail your ideal customer avatar. If you haven't done this for your business, then you absolutely need to. And I've actually got a video in the pipeline which shows you how you can create your ideal customer avatar, making use of ChatGPT to really refine that profile and then using it to inform your marketing content. So please do like and subscribe and keep an eye out for that one on the channel. Knowing the ideal customer avatar for your product or service helps you to define the product, what features it has, how to position it in the market, and so on. And we need to think of our website in exactly the same way, almost as a standalone product. Now, if your website is for your business, then it's very likely that your ideal customer avatar and your ideal website visitor avatar are the same person. But we need to treat the website as a new product that also needs to appeal to this avatar and meet their specific needs. There are 2 questions we need to be answering in this step. Firstly, who will visit your website? Write down a short description of your ideal website visitor avatar. This doesn't have to be in loads of detail, just who they are and what they do. Then make a list or a spider diagram of what they're looking for from your website. That could be things like service information, pricing, your blog, a way to book a call with you, your contact information, and so on. The important thing is to write down all of the wants and needs that your website visitor avatar has from your website. Once you've got all of this documented, move on to step 2. Step 2, map out key sections. There's a sort of traditional structure for websites which people tend to follow by default, usually consisting of a home page, a services or products page, an about page, and a contact page. Now, this might actually be where you land with your website, and that's absolutely fine. But for now, I want you to completely forget about pages and simply think of everything in terms of sections. I personally find this next bit easier to do with sticky notes or bits of paper that I can shuffle around. But looking back at the spider diagram or the list of wants and needs that you created in step 1, you need to start working out what sections these translate into. For example, if your website visitor avatar is likely to be looking for case studies and testimonials, you might have a section called What Clients Say or simply Testimonials. If they are looking for advice, then you might have an FAQ section or a blog section. Simply go through each want and need on your list and write down a logical section heading for that item. You may end up with multiple wants and needs under one section, and that's absolutely fine. Once you've done that, it's time to move on to the fun part in step 3. Step 3, plan the flow of clicks. So this is why I said it's easier to put each of your sections on different sticky notes or bits of paper that you can shuffle around, because we're going to take each of those sections and map out the journey that your website visitor avatar is going to take through your website. For this exercise, you're really going to need to put yourself in the shoes of the avatar and imagine you're taking that journey for the first time. So the first question we need to think about is, how do they arrive at your website in the first place? Is it from a Google search? Is it from a LinkedIn post? Is it from a direct link they've been given from a referrer? Whatever it is, write that down on a piece of paper and put that right at the top of your flow. The next question is, what is the first bit of information that they want to see when they land on your website? This might be an overview of your services, it might be your best-selling products, or it could be an about section which highlights your mission and your values. Find the relevant section or sections from your list, as there could be more than one, and place these into the next step of your flow. The next question is, once they've consumed these initial pieces of information, what information will they be looking to access next? Essentially, what questions do they now have in their mind after reading those first bits of information, and where would they ideally like to click next? For example, if you run a coaching business, your website visitor might have landed on your site by being passed the link by a friend or colleague. The first information they're after is who you are, what credentials you have, and maybe what specific types of coaching you offer. So they might initially land on a home page which has an about section and a services section. Once they've read that and decided that you sound legit, the next logical questions in their mind might be, well, how do I know that they're any good? This sounds great, but how much does a coaching session cost me? So the next available clicks in your flow should be to something like a testimonials page where they can read what other people are saying about you, and to a pricing section if that's something that you're willing to disclose on your website. As you go through the process of building this flow, you need to keep asking yourself the question, where would they ideally like to click next? And then keep adding the relevant sections into your flow until you think they will be ready to take action, i.e. to buy your product, to book a call with you, or to contact you. At which point you want to be asking the question, how can I make it easy for my website avatar to take that action? And then add the relevant section into the final part of your flow. And once you have this basic flow mapped out from start to finish, it's then time to simplify it and test it. One of the big mistakes that people make with building websites is having too many clicks between the point that the visitor lands on the site and the point when they're able to take action. The flow that you've mapped out might be quite busy and messy at the moment. So this next step is to walk through your flow from a visitor's perspective and see where you could simplify it. For example, could you combine sections onto one page? Do you actually need multiple website pages, or could you just get away with one or two? Could you add in buttons to take action at every stage? Is there any less important information that could be taken out? And one super critical thing that people often forget is to add back buttons and links between sections. As you walk through your flow from the visitor's perspective, think about where you need to place these links to make it as easy as possible for your visitors to navigate. Key questions to ask as you go through this process of simplification. Is it clear where to go next? Is anything confusing? Is anything missing? And is everything relevant? Once you're happy with the flow, you could create a really basic version of the website and ask a friend to test it and give feedback specifically on the flow and the ease of finding what they need. The more critical but friendly eyes on it, the better your user experience will end up being. So there you go. You now have a simplified, logical, well-planned website flow for you to start building from. And you have massively reduced the risk of putting your visitors off when they visit your site. The key thing to remember, sketch out your website flow before you start building. That's all for this video. I would love to see your finished website, so please do drop the links in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.